even after you give these people work permits, okay, you need to be honest with them. It is highly expensive to live here in Chicago. There will be an additional burden on the welfare system. We don't need that. How many schools did you all close? You got over 5,000 of their children in the schools. You didn't build any new schools. But you want us to focus on giving these teachers extra money. This is you guys' future.
Residents tore into city leaders over the 35,000 illegal immigrants who have poured into Chicago. And the city is on a spending spree for those people who broke our laws to get here. Critics are accusing the city of prioritizing border crossers over minority communities in particular.
Get them out of our communities because they don't deserve to be there.
Downtown has 3 to 4 illegal families on every block begging for work and selling Kit Kat bars after $1 billion was spent on them. Where is that money? Where is the money for the South Side and the West Side communities? Not another dollar for the illegals. If the crisis is so bad, the city council members who are so concerned should donate their salaries to the cause like a real public servant should.
That's from a recent, yesterday it was breaking live during this hour. That's from that city council meeting. And we couldn't see everybody, but we played it for you anyway. Now we have so much more of it to play. Illinois has spent more than $1 billion of Chicago tax money already on the people who are there.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about woke Trump deranged Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who suffered a massive defeat in the last few days as his progressive real estate tax got rejected by voters, despite the fact that he essentially conned school-age kids, okay, 18-year-olds, to go to the polls and to vote for a tax increase that maybe their parents don't agree with, right? But this is what they were doing. They were weaponizing the teachers union to trick kids into going to the polls and voting for a tax increase. Again, it is very slimy, disgusting, and corrupt politics in Chicago. And that initiative got defeated despite the dirty tricks from Democrats and woke Mayor Brandon Johnson. Now, Mr. Brandon Johnson is responding to the defeat, and he is blaming Trump supporters, right? He's blaming Trump supporters for why his progressive tax increase was rejected by voters. Take a look.
Yeah, Mark, the mayor is championing the idea of creating a dedicated revenue stream to help the unhoused from the campaign trail all the way through his first year in office. And though he has succeeded in every other progressive legislative agenda item that he has tried already so far this past year, on this one big issue, his efforts fell short.
Mayor Brandon Johnson pushed hard for the Bring Chicago Home referendum, but tonight he is dealing with the failure to bring the vote home. Still, he's vowing to continue the fight.
Even when we experience, moments like this, we don't ever quit. We don't quit on the people of Chicago. My administration is still very much committed to working with coalition and those who need to better understand what we're up against.
The measure promised to generate $100 million a year to help the unhoused and increase affordable housing by raising the real estate transfer tax on homes and buildings sold for more than $1 million. But voters rejected the measure, leaving supporters disappointed and pointing to several factors.
But certainly, I think that the millions and millions of dollars that real estate lobby opponents put into this around a lot of misinformation really struck at people's financial concerns.
Opponents, including one alderman who represents the downtown business community, says his constituents are breathing a sigh of relief.
And it shows that voters aren't really ready to trust this administration with more money until they see some better progress on the pressing issues that we're all confronting every day here. So I think the mayor got a report card last night, and he did not pass.
Opponents had blitzed the airwaves with ads critical of the referendum and warning that it would lead to an increase in property taxes and rents, which apparently resonated with voters. Supporters of Bring Chicago Home called that campaign misleading.
I think we had the better argument. Ultimately, it seems like we failed in making that argument effectively with the voters, at least with the majority of them.
The measure also likely failed because despite the push to polls by progressive unions and other supporters of the referendum, those voters did not show up.
It went down because when you look at the people that voted, it was 55 and over. Those are the people that are paying taxes. Those are the people that own the majority of the homes. The people that are making the noise are the young people who are not paying taxes.
The mayor also suggesting another reason for the defeat could have been the Donald Trump factor. He said there was all those Republicans who voted for Donald Trump, some 29,000, suggesting that their votes would have gone against the referendum.
That even when we experience, moments like this, we don't ever quit. We don't quit on the people of Chicago. My administration is still very much committed to working with coalition and those who need to better understand what we're up against. We have to organize them as well. But here's the thing. Where we really have to organize are the communities who are most impacted. Because it's also not lost on me. I think there were 38,000 Republicans that showed up and voted for Donald Trump or something like that in Chicago. So, since if we're trying to draw some conclusions and you all want some other, analytics you might want to discover, that might be something to look into, because I'll just say it, there's a good chance that played a part in this referendum. So the same people who want to see Donald Trump to become president, sometimes I do feel like he wants my job, but who wants to be president again, those are the same voters who voted for him, and the same voters where you look at where there were more no's, they were concentrated there.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey.
I'll ask your indulgence for 2 questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, so apparently Chicago is MAGA country, right? According to Brandon Johnson, because when things go wrong for him, the first thing that he does is that he blames Trump. When it comes to the residents of Chicago, a lot of whom are black, that are backlashing against the mayor for being a sanctuary city, for prioritizing illegal immigrants over them, actual citizens. Oh, that's Trump's fault, right? It's MAGA, okay? It's Greg Abbott. It's everybody except him. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Even when it comes to this progressive tax increase, you have the voters of Chicago, actual taxpayers, okay? People who actually pay taxes saying, hey, look, I don't want to add another tax when it comes to property sold above the value of $1 million, which, you can imagine Chicago is a big city. Probably, definitely, when you get into the downtown area, it is probably somewhat common to have properties that are over $1 million, okay? And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're rich, because a lot of these properties, again, just because it's a liberal city, because it's compact, it's probably not going to be extravagant, right? It's not like having some $1 million property in Texas or something like that. So I guess what I'm saying is that, the people that this affects or could affect aren't necessarily the rich, okay? Because that's the way they're going to frame this. They're going to say, well, you rejected a tax increase on the rich, right? That's not necessarily the case, okay? And that's why you had so many people show up who actually do pay the taxes, okay? You notice that news report, 55 and older, right? The people that actually really, have a stake in this stuff, they came out and said, no. We're not voting for another tax increase. And why would they vote for a tax increase? I mean, look at what Brandon Johnson does with the money. He takes the money, your taxpayer dollars, and he gives it to illegal immigrants. So who the hell would vote to increase taxes just to give it to illegal immigrants under the promise that, hey, we're going to solve the homelessness crisis? Well, does that include illegal immigrants? It probably does. It most certainly does, knowing this guy. Okay, because there's not one illegal immigrant that he doesn't want to house. He doesn't want to put a roof over their head and give them a warm place and food over, the American people, right? That's what he wants to do, which is generally what he's been doing. Okay, but, recently there's news stories about the illegals getting evicted because, resources are scarce, right? You don't have an unlimited amount of money, which, again, that's why he wants more money, right? Give us more money as the illegals get evicted, right? So everybody knows that this tax increase is not going to solve the homelessness crisis. It never does, right? I mean, these progressive cities, these progressive states, they've been increasing taxes in the name of solving the homelessness problem forever, and they don't do it, right? All of them are a disaster. Look at California. Look at New York. Look how much money these people are paying in taxes, and they still have a homelessness problem. So don't sit and try to tell me that, hey, we're going to solve the homelessness problem by increasing taxes. It's a scam, right? Every single time is a scam, and the voters saw through it. So again, instead of actually, blaming himself, blaming the fact that people don't trust him with their taxpayer dollars to solve this problem, rightfully so. Look at what he's done again with the money that Chicago has now. Again, he gives it all to illegal immigrants. No, he said, well, it's Trump, right? If you voted against this, then you must be a Trump supporter. You're a Trump supporter. You support Trump. Again, it is amazing, guys, how anybody in this country that supports common sense, like, I don't know, closing the border, or being tough on crime, you must be a Maga guy, right? You must be a Trump supporter. It's amazing. It's almost like being a Trump supporter is synonymous with common sense. Okay, that's what it has become at this point. Okay, if you believe in common sense, if you're not a left-wing progressive extremist, you must be a Trump supporter. That's where we're at in our politics, which, hey, that's fine, right? If that's where we're at, cool, right? It expands the base, okay? If you believe in common sense, if you don't want our money to go to illegals, okay? If you want to secure the border, if you want to be tough on crime, if you want to stop sending money overseas to fund and fight these useless wars to protect other people's borders, if you actually want to take care of the American people first, if that's what makes you a Trump supporter, so be it, right? Then we can use a lot more Trump supporters in this country, if that's the case. The unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of people in this country that do lack common sense, okay? And there's a lot of people who don't have any skin in the game, and they're out here voting for these policies and initiatives to tax people who do have skin in the game, to give money to people who don't work or are here illegally, because those are only people that will vote for something like this, right? But again, this outlines and shows you exactly how the progressive ideology works. Try to get people who have no skin in the game, who contribute the least to society, to vote for these wealth transfer policies, these tax increases that do not accomplish the goals that they claim that is going to accomplish, okay? You promise that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You never do it, okay? You tax the people that are actually working hard, okay? You take all their money and then you funnel it into these corrupt initiatives, and you take care of a whole bunch of people that, again, don't want to work, that don't contribute to the system, instead of actually using the money for what it's supposed to be used for, and you just rinse and repeat, okay? This is why they were so desperate that they had to get children, again, individuals who don't have any skin in the game, okay, to come out and to vote for a tax increase on people who do have skin in the game, right? Again, it's amazing how that works. Absolutely amazing how that works. So, again, it's just funny to me how every single time this guy hits a roadblock with the progressive agenda, okay, or it turns out that his progressive agenda is a disaster, people don't like his progressive agenda, he blames Trump, right? It's conservatives' fault. People are racist, right? It's Republicans, Greg Abbott. It's everybody except him. Everybody except him. In a city that is overwhelmingly Democrat, right? It's overwhelmingly Democrat, but hey, these Trump supporters, apparently they got a whole lot of power, right? We got a whole lot of power out here, right? We deep in Chicago, according to Brandon Johnson. But really, again, this is just a reflection of how bad this guy is doing, and the fact that the taxpayers don't trust him. Nobody trusts him, and he can't motivate anybody to get out and to vote for his progressive initiatives, because people are saying the results of progressivism, which is chaos and destruction. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.